Night 2, free for all. We got Liv Morgan defeating Natalia. Smash really didn't have much of
anything.
Backstory. It was just really thrown together. Opening match, though, probably the best match of the entire weekend.
Yeah, the best, ring to belt.
Charlotte Flair. Yes, yep. Charlotte Flair defeating Rhea Ripley, the NXT Women's Championship. Great match. I've said it before that outside of the horsewomen and Asuka and Alexa Bliss, there's really no one else who really has that main event nab right now. Rhea Ripley, I believe, will be a part of that. And this match here just showed that exactly, that she is one of the best in the ring, and this match told a great story. Is to have both, a great look to be going against each other. Like, you see these two women, you're like, wow, this actually looks like the two women on top of their game. They look like they're the ones who are ruling the division.
Okay. On top of their game, I thought they were going to go R-rated there for a second.
No, this isn't MVS. We actually respect them in this group. We have Aleister Black defeating Bobby Lashley for the singles title.
For the who's going to be taken off the first title.
Yes. I was going to get at before I blurted that this was just a very thrown together and random match as well. It didn't really make sense going in of why these two were here other than to just get them on TV.
It's a classic old school.
I honestly don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, it's a classic old school WrestleMania filler type.
Yes, it was very WrestleMania 1 through 11, pretty much right here. Yeah. Otis defeated Dolph Ziggler. I didn't mind the build to that feud, but I honestly don't remember much about this match at all, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I guarantee
it just defeated Randy Orton.
I don't remember much of it either, but I guarantee you there was Otis saying, "Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
no.
Oh yeah." Thank you.
I think,
and he does his little hip shake.
Mm-hmm. Hips.
And the head.
It just defeated Randy Orton. This match, I thought, was like the way it started with Orton coming in as like the camera guy. It started off kind of odd. I thought it took a while to get the groove of things going in this one. But once they got backstage and they just did whatever they wanted back there, I think they finally found their groove after a while. For 36 minutes, he easily could have trimmed a little bit of this match out.
I think totally forgot about this match until I saw it. Like,
it was by design. 36 at WrestleMania 36.
A lot of people forgot about this match, honestly, because it's like you have this match and then this is the last man standing.
Yeah, it's not like
and then
it was the
match after. Yeah, their rematch was a regular match. It's like it's opposite of how it should work, and like the way this match ended, pretty much it should have technically ended the feud here. It didn't really need to continue to the next one. Granted, their second match in this series was great. It wasn't needed, and this one here.
So I think the night needed it. Like, he needed something that was out of the box during, on the show, on the whole show, sterilized wrestling matches in an empty arena setting. So you needed something.
And listeners, if you're not watching the video, Joe is underselling the greatest match of all time at Backlash.
back themselves into a corner in that one by advertising it that way. Totally.
It's
No promoter should ever promote a match that way ever again, and they never have in the past. You just don't promote a match that way.
it's not even how they promote it. It's how they presented it. Like when they did this thing, and then Charlie Caruso says, "Well, gentlemen, if it's it's gonna be."
Yes.
She said it in such a flat.
This could very well be the greatest match of all time.
Said it like it's pretty clear that someone told you to say that. It's not like this is not an original thought. It's
and I'll get to my point about that when it's my turn.
Next up, we had the Street Profits retaining the tag titles over Angel Garza and Austin Theory.
And there was a debut.
Oh, yeah. That was the night after, wasn't it?
No, was it the night? No, it was on this night.
I think it was the night after.
Yeah, it was night after.
Wait, you guys sure?
I'm pretty sure it was the night after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bianca?
We was waiting for that to happen. Yeah. We was waiting for
that was the night after.
Yeah. Because they've been fighting for 6 months.
And I mean, at that point, everything blurs into one night, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a math,
especially because it's the same arena with no crowd. You're right.
No, I don't know.
This kind of blends in together.
Yeah, it's.
It is funny. You did pick up like a little notebook there.
Exactly.
But
no, I'm trying to remember. I want to search, but I don't know what to search. So I'm like,
the book of
I got you. I'm going.
Wait, let's see.
The match itself was, just it felt very WrestleMania 36, if that makes sense, because it was a match under circumstances. Next up, we had Bayley.
You was right. Massey was right. It was WrestleMania 36. Yeah.
All right.
Debut.
So we did the debut of Bianca Belair.
I would completely beat you guys. I had stumped the bump, by the way. Just so we should.
I don't know. We watched the bump together. There were a few they're neck and neck on in that.
Whoa! Side note. Side note. Here's the funny thing. Bianca Belair's a stepmother now.
Is the what?
It's a stepmother.
Stepmother. Wait.
Because Montez got 2 kids.
Oh, really? I didn't know
that. Yeah. Sorry. Kenneth Crawford. Sometimes I wonder if I get a wrestling name, I'm just going to legit just change it to my real name now. Because Kenneth Crawford sounds not like Montez Ford. We'll go ahead. Yeah, because I'm looking at stepmother like, what? Okay, that's weird.
Kenneth Crawford is like it. It sounds like, it's either a Harvard professor or a secret agent, so one of those two.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of cool in its own right. Or a Harvard professor who is a secret agent, like one of those characters from the Librarian series.
Never watched it.
There you go, Joe. Sorry.
Next up, we had a 5-way elimination. Bayley defeating Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina. I honestly don't remember a thing about this match, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I
did too. We'll get to that.
The only thing I really remember
happy about the outcomes
about this is it felt like this was the end of first stage of heel Bayley, because it seems like right after this is when she became Bayley, the heel Bayley that we love right now, like where she really found herself, because she was really stagnant in her heel run from October until now. She didn't really have much of a gimmick or anything. She just came out kind of serious.
She just hated the world.
But I just remember that. Yes, it's like right after WrestleMania, she basically became, the female version of Christian, and that was perfect for her. That's really the only thing I really remember about this. This is my last memory of her being at Bayley. Then we had Bray Wyatt defeating John Cena in a Firefly Funhouse match, which I absolutely loved this match because it was completely bonkers. And get hating cinematic matches, I'm not gonna lie. Like, people can say, WWE does their hokey thing. People can say AEW does their hokey thing, and they can say, other promotions that focus in on seriousness, and that's true. But a person is going to tune into WWE, especially after the past 40 years, and not expect entertainment thing like this, and you really need to quit watching WWE altogether, because that's what WWE does, is a lot of wacky shit that doesn't always make sense. And this match didn't really make sense at all, but it was awesome. I mean, you had throwbacks to previous gimmicks of Cena's, of Bray's. You had heel turn NWO Cena in this match. It was basically Hogan and the Dungeon of Doom done with Cena entering, Funhouse, or technically leaving the Funhouse. Yes. It was full of inside jokes. 13 minutes of just absurdity, and it worked. Wasn't pick feeling like, say, the Boneyard match. The Boneyard match would have been like Muhammad said, it's like, the cinematic horror western. Whereas this here was a little bit more trauma. But it was basically like Akara or PWG with a budget is what this match here was. And I loved every second of it. A lot of people, yet again, hated it because people really fucking hate cinematic matches. But, can you do? WWE has a thing where they have something for everybody. Like, if you don't want this type of stuff, if you just want great matches, we had Charlotte versus Rhea earlier in the night. If you're just like a casual fan who just likes, meatheads just battling it out, you had, your short 3-minute, 2-minute Braun versus Goldberg the next night. And then, Drew versus Brock later this evening. WWE does something basically for everybody. It doesn't always land. They always at least try to do something for different types of fans, especially at Mania. And this card here has basically everything crossed off the list. Then the main event on the pay-per-view was Drew McIntyre defeating Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. I think the match was short and sweet. It didn't really need to be much longer. Having Drew go through Brock so fast made Drew look strong, especially with how dominant Brock has been the past 7 years, whatever had been at that time, 8 years. So it makes sense for that. Brock hasn't been on TV since. Drew had a great title reign. It all worked out for Drew McIntyre at the end. After the match, he had that Big Show match. So Big Show main evented a WrestleMania in person, but not on television because they aired it the next night on Raw.
He did the first ever WrestleMania Dark main event.
Yes. And it didn't really, it still didn't really make a lot of sense when they played it on Raw, but it is what it is. It made Drew look strong, and that was all that they really were intending to do. How about you, Mohammed? What did you think of Night 2 of WrestleMania 36?
I kind of like Night 2. It's a continuation. Like, we were riding high off of Night 1 because of the Boneyard match and what's happening, so you're going into this. You going into Night 2, you knew what to expect from the arena feel, from how the matches are going to sound, the whole thing. It was a good thing. Like, let's also remember there was a title change. I don't know if this was night 2 or night 1, but Ron Gronkowski.
Oh yeah,
Night
yeah.
Got the 24/7 title off of what's his name? Oh my God, was it R-Truth? Was it R-Truth?
I think it was Rick Moss. I think.
No.
I'm checking.
It was R-Truth who came in between them, and then they knocked him out, and then Mojo got it night 1.
Yeah.
Mojo got it night 1, and he got it on night 2. Now I remember.
Yeah.
And then Titus O'Neil took over the whole thing.
We don't love Mojo.
Don't.
Only Mojo Jojo.
I mean,
but that's it. Yeah, that's only Mojo we love.
You ain't hyped.
No, it's Sunday. I'm relaxed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you don't love Mojo, but you gotta respect Mojo for coming back from that horrible eye infection that he had back in 2019, where it was blue all over his face. I
thought he got that from touching mirrors, but
that's the only time I was really intrigued by Mojo was when he was cutting those weird mirror promos.
Yeah, and
it's most I can say about Mojo.
Weak, you pathetic.
Yeah,
weak. Yeah,
that's why
I'm the best.
That's why Joe liked him, because he thought that Mojo was weak and pathetic, and he was like, finally something we agree on.
He admits it.
Exactly.
And okay, so I remember our first match, Charlotte versus before we go into the matches, what do you guys think about the intro for WrestleMania, with Stephanie saying that's going to be the Performance Center and other
I loved it. I loved the music. I loved the way the package went.
I love the video package. The video package is pretty good. Really.
I'd say it's probably my third favorite Mania intro after 30 and 17.
Yeah, I love 30 and 17.
That was okay. I honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah. But I remember when I remember when Stephanie said it's gonna be at the Performance Center and other locations. That's probably put me in a stagnant, because I thought, well, there's gonna be more than one, not another location, which was the Boneyard match, but there's gonna be one match is gonna take place somewhere else. I thought maybe they'd have a match at the the stadium in Tampa where it was empty still, but no, it was all in Performance Center. And you could argue the Firefly Funhouse was not outside of the Performance Center either. It was just...
Yeah.
But anyway, Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. Good match. It kind of like me watching the WrestleMania live at 3 a.m. and having the volume high was probably not a good idea, because I got neighbors and they're gonna think, oh god, this guy's up at 3 a.m. watching foreigners. Match was pretty good. I think it might have been best, in-ring, bell-to-bell type of match. I did not like Rhea Ripley cosplaying as Vegeta or as some random Saiyan armor.
Vegeta.
It was Vegeta, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Vegeta.
Yeah. But it was. It's for two things. First of all, I did not register it was Vegeta. I just thought she was coming out as a random cruise captain because of the blue and the white. And secondly, the character Rhea Ripley was presented should not cosplay.
No.
Well, it's WrestleMania.
But it's WrestleMania. Jeez.
Yeah, it's WrestleMania. WrestleMania, you have a special outfit, but you don't. I mean, cosplay goes into something of more of a it's not rebellious. That's what I
get what you're saying. The image of her was kind of different. So
I think it makes sense.
Don't let her know. She gonna do Goku this weekend.
I think it makes sense for her to do it, because the way she's presented, a lot of girls like that are really big into cosplay, so it does make a lot of sense. A lot of
and also
a lot of girls were presented by the attitude, but you wanted to project this image of an ass kicker, not.
Yeah, but she didn't really come out doing anything.
Take away from that, but someone watching that does not know what that is gonna say you know, what is... Again,
funny enough,
I thought she was a cruise captain. I didn't think she was Australian.
I get both, because see, here's my joke. I get most that, like, yeah, she plays this rebel, this badass, this biker, the nightmare, and here she comes with these bright colors and stuff. But with Joe point, that could be her, that she likes anime, and of course she picked Vegeta, which is the badass himself, so it kind of works. So, but yeah, I get you though. I
but
get
the
you.
one time she cosplayed,
Just
she lost.
changing colors and looks kind of weird. Yeah.
There you go.
See, she just should have been a vampire.
Yeah.
Would you been okay if it was a vampire, just black with fangs and stuff like that?
I mean, could you tell?
Blood on her face.
Would you be able to tell if this cosplay was just regular, you know, Ripley?
Exactly. See.
But anyway, it was a good match. I guess I don't know. Like, you know, a lot of people hate the decision that Charlotte lost, but then you think that it's kind of like they put themselves in a corner where, you know, like, you're not gonna satisfy anyone. You're not gonna satisfy everyone with whatever ending you're gonna have. Like, if Rhea beats Charlotte, you're gonna say, well, okay, an NXT girl just came up and just, you know, walked through the Royal Rumble winner, and Charlotte.
I was shocked and okay with it. Only thing I thought was really that Rhea didn't immediately join the main roster after the loss.
Yeah.
But then they was gonna rematch, and then when they did the rematch,
they didn't even have that rematch
with Io. Yeah, I'm just saying, when she did and she lost again, well, Io won it. She still was in NXT. That's what threw me off. I'm like, why is she still in NXT now? Okay.
She's got.
But I just figured there'd be a rematch. So. Yeah.
But then again,
that's what I figured. Yeah, she was gonna.
I think they wanted Rhea down in NXT until they got, you know, crowds back, or the Thunderdomes there. But so it's kind of like WrestleMania. This WrestleMania is going to be her coming out party to the main roster.
And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. I mean, like, we'll get that more into that when we preview. But yeah, I'm right with you.
Yeah.
And then you got Black versus Bobby Lashley. I mean, yeah, it was just a basic filler match, but it was also the start of the storyline where they were separating Lashley from Lana, I guess. So. Yeah, at least it did a job. There was a purpose to it, and it fulfilled that purpose. Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. I cannot remember anything from bell to bell during this match. Mind you, I haven't watched WrestleMania 36 back until now, except for the Firefly Funhouse and the Boneyard match. But
same.
Yeah.
I think I watched the Triple Threat tag again.
Yeah, I might have watched the main event, Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar again as well, but Edge and Orton maybe once again. But the rest of it, it's nothing against that. It's just, you know, it's a draining. I already watched it at home, so I know what was on it. But Otis versus Dolph Ziggler, the match still did not interest me. And when the build-up. I remember Dolph Ziggler coming out as creepy. Just every time he refers to Mandy as that little kitten, it's like, whoa, dude. That just sounds, you know, wrong. Edge versus Randy Orton. It was a very nice televised tour of the Performance Center, I'll say.
It was.
It was. It was nice to see the boardrooms, the loading bay, or loading dock, you know, and I just keep remembering that, you know, they had cameras in places where, mind you, this is not presented as cinematic, so it's kind of weird, like that Randy Orton lands on the top of the truck and there's already a cameraman on top of the truck waiting for him to come out there, but that's neither here or there. It's entertainment. I should let go more. It was a good match. It had a good ending as well. It's like it had a poetic. It had poetic, nice, old school wrestling type of ending where, you know, the good guy just looks at the bad guy and then, you know, just ends it with a hand. And Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Austin Theory. Oh, what can you say? It's good that it's again. This is also, while it's still a championship match, it's also a classic old school WrestleMania filler. Two guys together, just throw them in, have them compete for the titles. It's a filler. Yeah, and then you get the 5-woman fatal 5-way elimination match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. What I remember from this match is it's a pretty entertaining match for the 5 women and so forth. I remember the last 3 women together being Bayley, Sasha, and Lacey. And Lacey, as awkward as a babyface as she was, but she was still, you know, holding the fort again. And I remember this was a nice thing where you had the tension going into the match between Sasha and Bayley, where Bayley wants to keep the title. Is she worried about Sasha? Do they trust each other or whatnot? And I remember the ending was pretty cool, where Lacey went for the women's right to punch out Bayley, and Bayley did this weird move where she grabbed her hand and deflected it into Sasha. And I remember I never saw something like that in a wrestling match before, where you just, you know, the blow was coming for you and you just deflect it and the blow just goes on into the other person, and it's unbelievable, but it was pretty cool when you see it. And Bayley deflecting that punch into Sasha, having Sasha eliminated, and then just finishing off Lacey, that was a stroke of genius. I think it was great. It was a great way to put how far Bayley has become, how much of an opportunist she was, how she values being champion over her actual friendship with Sasha Banks. It was a great, you know, ending to that match. But it was followed by something that, you know, that kind of, you know, did not rub me the wrong way, where Bayley would hold the title after Sasha congratulated her, get on the turnbuckle, and taunt the Performance Center when there are no fans there.
Yeah.
She would go up and yell and everything, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with her celebrating, but just project that celebration into the camera, because there's no one, because you're looking out and there's no one there.
To me, it's like there's something they used to doing, and they just not.
That's something.
How can I say? Taught them how to do that. You like, just, you know, the fans of your audience, not the cameras. You know how they don't look directly at the camera and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's different times. You need to have different tactics. This is.
Of course, I agree with you with that. But this is WWE.
This is where they draw criticism for the Performance Center training, because they tell you that everyone is trained in a specific way and that you can't deviate from it.
Yeah.
Not saying that Bayley's in that same off, but it was, but probably someone producing this should have said something.
Because they even still do it at the Thunderdome. That's why I'm thinking they got pictures so you can like look at the people, and they're but they on a delay.
Yeah, but at least visually it makes sense when you're watching it. It's in the Thunderdome.
Well, like they did that on ROH last night even. Danhausen looked at the empty crowd and I was like, and I was like, there's no one there.
It's just something you're going to get used to, so you don't lose it and stuff.
But then again, Danhausen is kind of like weird and hokey.
That makes sense for him. Yes,
crazy. It makes sense for him. It's Danhausen. I remember,
and I want to say I like the Thunderdome. I like the Thunderdome because I just realized last year when they was pointing at the sign, it was just really off. Like, who you pointing us at? It's like we right. It's right there. We know it's right there. Thanks.
But then again, they got better at it as time goes along. But I remember that was just glaring in a mistake, because it went on for a while. Like, she left one turnbuckle, went to the other. Like, there's no one there. Look at the camera. And then we go into the Firefly Funhouse. Fun fact here about the Funhouse is like in the 2 or 3 weeks after WrestleMania, I've watched this match more than I did watch the Boneyard match. It's
I'll get to the reason why.
Yeah, it's more of like a psychedelic trip, if you would, if that's the correct term to use here.
Yeah.
It's sort of like I'm not gonna say it's like Color Out of Space, but that's the only movie that's coming to my mind right now. But it's in the same era as that. It had a lot of movement. It had, it's the progression from one scene to another, where it tells a story, where it tells Ray's story at the same time while telling John Cena's story. It's great. I mean, like it's something you did not expect. It's you have 2 cinematic matches on 2 consecutive nights, and the beauty of it is they look nothing like each other. It's 2 completely different genres of cinema, if you're gonna call them cinema, and and it was like Fiend versus Cena, but the beauty of it is the Fiend was an over character. You don't see him until the final 30 seconds or so.
Yeah,
it was kind of like I'll say that it's in the mouth of madness. That's how. Yeah. That's what it was. It was like you going to it's Cena going into his own mind, being mad, while Bray is also inside his mind. It's an amazing form of entertainment that you would not expect to see it in.
like you would see like almost imagine like a 80s. Actually, I was gonna. For decades, it could be pretty much anything from 60s to 90s, like a DC comic. Just imagine like John Cena's face on the cover, like with the top of the head open, and there's like just like a little world inside there, and Bray's like the puppet master pulling the strings.
Yes, that's good. Someone we should commission that.
Yes, actually, that'd be pretty. I'd wear that shirt. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that would be good. But it's something that I think no other cinematic match ever presented this type of layered storytelling into it. That's great.
It's otherworldly.
Yes, you kind of have to judge it as more of a movie than a wrestling match. It's hard to look at it as anything else.
And we haven't seen Cena since then, too.
Yes, which is perfect, because you can visit it. You can go back and visit it again. Right?
Well, he is invisible, but yeah.
They had a missed opportunity there. They easily could have had like one point of like Cena to go back to like Hogan Dungeon of Doom. Cena touches like the water that's not hot, but he goes completely invisible, and Bray can't see him anywhere.
That would be good.
Exactly.
So Cena would be like the predator.
I had to do the math.
Cena would be like the predator coming out of the water. So.
Next year at WrestleMania, they need to have Bray Wyatt go heel before next WrestleMania, and they have the rematch where it's the invisible John Cena.
Oh God!
Inside the fun house.
That's gonna make Corny stop them matches for sure.
Yep.
But that was great, and Drew versus Brock Lesnar. Like you said, short and sweet, play the hits. If they had a crowd for this match, they would have, had more time to space it out, have some, stuff going on between the moves. But
probably would have Brock get a little bit more dominance.
Yes.
Than at the start.
Exactly. And Brock can get a little bit, suplex him a couple of times. They would lay around for a while. But again, Brock Lesnar is also a spectacle that needs crowd presentation. Crowd participation, sorry. It needs the oohs, and ahs, and the whole thing. So
that's why short and sweet worked for this.
Yes, exactly. They played the heads. It was like I'm not gonna say it was like a UFC fight, but it's like the boxing match where the haymakers just keep flying until one of them actually hits and knocks the guy out. It was a great way to end WrestleMania. And Drew McIntyre reaching through the camera, see what happened there. And telling everyone thank you and we're connected and everything. It was a great thing. It was, first of all, it established Drew as the guy, and now the guy is on behalf of the WWE is telling the world or everyone watching that we're in this together. That was a great moment to end it. And the dark main event with Big Show was, I didn't mind it, honestly. I liked it. I thought it was something new. It was something that it's the only time they can ever get away with doing something like that is on this show, because there's no one there. And I think they just, took a chance. I mean, like, I think WrestleMania 36 and after WrestleMania, WWE did a lot of experimenting until they landed on the Thunderdome. And for the WWE to be experimenting, that's a big thing in itself. That's something that we take for granted because COVID and empty arenas and everything. But it's still, seeing the WWE embrace the weird or embrace the unconventional is a big thing. Is a big thing when it comes to sports entertainment. And I'd say WrestleMania 36 as a whole was a great escape. It's for us wrestling fans. If you watch it and you put your time into it, it's a great escape from the whole from what was going on around you. James, thoughts on night 2, please?
And before I go, these Daniel Bryan triple threat memes are hilarious. Joe, I just saw WrestleMania 3, Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan, Bryan Daniels.
I got that.
I know, so I brought it up, and they even got him in WrestleMania 5 too. I'm like, that's hilarious.
I just posted one in the group of me, myself, and Irene, but it's me, myself, and Daniel Bryan.
Yes, I saw that too. Yes, it's like that's it's great. Watch, Muhammad gonna have Undertaker versus Daniel Bryan. Night 2 WrestleMania, very interesting. Let me throw out some interesting tips that made this show interesting. This is really proved the women's revolution match, because this is the only, compared to night 1, your only women match was you had your tag team that was 15 minutes. Becky and Blaze was 8, but here Charlotte and Rita was 20 minutes. And Bayley's match was 20 minutes also. Yeah. Top 2 matches that, got a lot of time, which I appreciate that. And Charlotte versus Rita, it was a great match. It was good. It was 2 people that ever worked with each other. It was a great match. And like I said, I wasn't too... They did put themselves in the corner here. Like, all right, you're gonna pit established champion, get your NXT Women's now the lower tier belt, but to casual fans, is not the women's title. But it made sense for Charlotte to win and go on to NXT because ratings and stuff. But like I said, the only thing I thought was weird that I thought Rita was going to come up to the main roster, and then they'll work their rematch at Backlash and build her up and stuff like that, make her a women's champion. But they kept her NXT a whole nother year, which kind of just dragged out and stuff. But it was a good match. I didn't mind her being Vegeta. Vegeta's a badass. It's a badass villain, so it kind of worked, but I get what you're saying. And she's not in any bright colors. She might have like the green, but it's all black still. So her with the the white and blue. You think she's a captain?
If she was gonna be
it's hilarious.
If she was gonna be Vegeta, at least be Vegeta when he was being controlled by who's the guy who was with Majin Buu?
It was Majin. It was Majin Vegeta you talking about, I get what you're saying. That'd be weird if
when he had the whole blue
Bibbidi.
That was better.
It was Bibbidi.
Yes.
It was a bit of a Scoops Ahoy look with the white and blue.
Yeah, because it was in the gold. And she had gold too. That's kind of messed it up too.
Like I said, cruise captain. It was messing with the
I know, because I remember Pete like, man, that white, she looks hot. And I'm thinking like white, blue, and gold. I'm like, what is she wearing? I'm like, okay, but it's WrestleMania. Now, Black versus Bobby Lashley was a good match. And this was the only time I thought, man, Bobby should win this, because Bobby was looking great in this, but then they gave it to Black, and you're just like, okay, that's weird, all right. But it was a decent match, it was fuller. Otis versus Dolph Ziggler the build-up was great. I enjoyed them both. This made me become an Otis fan for what it was. But it was just something to just push Otis up. Once we do a Money in the Bank retrospective, that explains why that happened.
Yeah.
And it was decent. You showed a little bit of, when Otis get pissed off, he can be a monster if he needs to, and which he is now, which is great. But I liked it. Wish Dolph win, but I'm a Dolph fan, so that's different. Now, Edge versus Randy Orton. I'm going to confess, I really wasn't caring for this match. The build was good. It had reasons, but I'm just thinking, last man standing for your first match. I get it's WrestleMania. Edge, you're back. This is like when you're not coming back anymore. You just you go big, but you stand, Edge. So I don't know why you needed to have this one-off match type for right now. What we thought was a one-off match. It was good. You can't go wrong with Edge and Randy Orton. They had matches before, and it was good. But I'm with you, man. It was just a nice tour to Performance Center. It just like it was good, but it was just to me. It's just like, okay, WrestleMania level match? I don't really think so. To me, this could have been the Backlash match, minus the whole hype and stuff like that. But it was good for what it was.
It doesn't hold up for repeated viewings. That's what I didn't say. It's not.
Yeah, because it was almost 40 minutes long. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. But it was 40 minutes long, for God's sakes. It's just like Jesus. But it was good. The Street Profits versus thing, it was like feuding with Gaza and Theory and Andrade for so long. I just didn't care. Felt like the match should have been over months ago. But weird, it was only 6 minutes. I felt that match was longer than it was. I enjoyed the Fatal 5-Way with the women's match. It was just weird how they just added Tamina and Naomi in it. To tell you the truth, they were just added onto it because the whole story was Bayley and Sasha. Well, Sasha lay down for Bayley, or will Sasha turn on Bayley or whatever and stuff. But it was good, and they pointed out that she did deflect the woman's right because Bayley is awesome. She's the captain, so she can do stuff like that.
So you're saying that she's going to be wearing white and blue if she's the captain?
I think she did wear blue one time, but yes, she will.
Yeah, but she never wore them together, though. That's
No. And no one's talked, but Bayley's not on WrestleMania for right now. No one's talked about that.
I think they might announce a Ding Dong Hello, actually. That's what I'm predicting.
Yeah. The Fiend versus John Cena. Now, I love this. And I got to make sure I see y'all. I love this. Make sure there's anything else after I miss. Okay, it's just true. Okay. I love this. And I get why people hate it, but I love it because this is me. A smart mark match here.
It totally is.
Yes.
All the hints and clues they threw in there, casual fans wouldn't pick on it, and that's why I love it. I love when you saw Thundernomics, you saw it kind of way Husky hairs, and the whole, because I know when people watch like NWO John Cena, what the hell is this supposed to be about? But people always thought it'd be fun if John Cena turned heel, and if he'd be heel, it'd be the level of Hollywood Hulk Hogan. That's basically what it would be.
Now there's an action figure coming out for it.
Yeah, and even him with Prototype. It's just weird seeing them in the Prototype.
Yeah, I forgot about the Prototype.
James has that action figure on pre-order already.
I do not. I scaled down on my pre-order thing, but I would love to get it. In fact, I'm getting a new one today, and I'll show y'all when it comes in. But yeah, it was just awful smarts. That's what the whole thing was, and I like it because it was just showing the whole beginning of John Cena's career and Bray, how they interjected and everything, and it just made sense. And I'm like, they could have had a match, but then it wouldn't be great because okay, if it was The Fiend versus John Cena, it would just, and I can understand why they want to do it. And Muhammad agreed with me. If they did it, it would be just like happened when Undertaker faced John Cena at WrestleMania. That's the only way it can go.
Well, yeah, it had to be.
Cena comes in, they have a match.
Dominant victory, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. He comes in, choke him out, South Africa. People are like, what was that all about? It's like, y'all brought John Cena back for that? And I'm like, yeah. So I like that it was a mind game type thing, and he basically destroyed John Cena.
When you said the prototype, it reminded me of two other things in it that I forgot about. There's the 1980s promo that they had, and then just that super fast undercranking of John Cena using the waist, the band to work out, and then just Bray's face of like,
yes,
yeah, when he said, "Oh,
it was just like perfect."
He was like, that was
see.
That was, and then
that's what you see for multiple times.
Abby the witch's the mouth drop, like she was in awe of.
Yeah.
It was a lot of nuanced things that were done in it that were perfect. Yeah.
Because he didn't do Husky Harris, but he did Muscle Man in the way to, I guess, to do.
Yeah, and it honestly.
Husky.
Yeah, honestly, it showed that John Cena has actually pretty good acting chops. It's when he was like unable to say anything. Well, of course he's in Fast Furious 9. Yeah, when he was unable to say anything except ruthless aggression, that was like, you could see on his face that he was panicking but trying to hold it together. Like, and he was like, ruthless aggression.
Yeah. And I wish they went a little bit over, but they kind of did, because I think Bray was trying to be Kurt Angle when he was the prototype, and it was just great. Like I said, it's one of them things that you just look for Easter eggs and little nods to things. You're like, oh, I get that. So I can get casual fans like, what's going on? But that was the whole point.
Yeah.
And yeah, after that, we never saw John Cena in WWF ever again. But you can watch him on Wipeout on TBS.
This episode is brought to you by Ted Turner Promotions.
I know. So it was great. I love it. It's right there with the Boneyard and Money in the Bank.
I will say,
cinematic matches for WWE for me.
I will say this before I move on from this matches, but seeing old school Bray Wyatt in it was the highlight for me. Like,
oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. See. Yeah. That's it. It was for us. That's why we loved the match, because it was for us. Because every time they was doing something, we was popping for it. Like, oh god, they did that. Oh, they did that.
And in the promo, he said, "Well, like you said, you're a champion of the people. Then why weren't you listening?" And Wyatt, like old school Wyatt, has this way of like. People talk about how they don't understand what he's saying, but you just need to listen and you know, see beyond and read between the lines of what he's saying, because he was saying a lot of like this powerful stuff, like I was the color red in a world of black and white, and they're like that he was some that different thing that they couldn't put in the box. Now they mishandled him by, you know, going all the way, like going overboard with the supernatural aspect of him. He should have been just a cult leader, but but when he said,
when you go against the Undertaker, you gotta have powers now.
Yeah, they kind of gave him powers before that, though, when he was like, you know, appearing out of nowhere and he kidnapped Kane in a Ring of Fire match. Like down in NXT, he wasn't. He didn't have those powers. He was,
You know,
he was just the guy, you know. He was the guy. He was waiting to happen. That's what
he was basically the leader from the Wrong Turn remake, essentially, just with a different attire instead.
Yes, that.
And I did like that.
Swap out the Game of Thrones outfits for, you know, Hawaiian shirts, and there you go.
Yeah, I'll agree. He made me think about when Daniel Bryan joined. I like that promo, you know, like run.
Exactly.
And Drew versus Brock was Drew versus Brock. We knew Drew was going to win. I didn't know it'd be less than 10 minutes. I guess I was happy. I guess.
Yes.
It's just, I don't know what to say. It's just like, you're right. Brock needed the crowd. If the crowd was there, it probably meant something. And by not crowd being there, it just felt like just a regular match. You didn't get all the celebration and everything. It felt weird because ending a main. Because that was the problem. I know the title always got to go last, but I think people would be mad if the Firehouse went last, but I guess it would help because then you wouldn't feel that awkwardness when Drew went in and you standing up there and you're like, yeah, you need the fans, Drew.
But if
You need to do it.
on that end, think you were going to close it without the W title. I think Boneyard would have closed night 2 because I don't see the oddness of the Firefly Funhouse ending WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I think
but
after Funhouse, you kind of needed that Drew moment.
It's a more
Yeah,
controversial.
so
ending.
Boneyard, yeah. The Boneyard would have been night 2. Yeah, I would have ended with that because you leave with the Undertaker doing that, you can be happy with that. It's just weird because I look at it like, just imagine if and I'm just saying I don't want to happen, but if Convict was a couple of years ago and that happened when Self stole the belt, it would have been awkward. You like you needed that crowd reaction when Self took the title and stuff like that. You needed that. You like
yes.
So.
And also,
it was fine for this.
To end WrestleMania, you need them to sign off somehow. Like you need someone to tell you, you need someone to say good night to everyone, and
thank you for
but you could have gone the old school way of ending the Firefly Funhouse, then going back to the commentators like Gorilla and Jesse used to do, where they would just we talk about the night and then just say thank you everyone and good night. But then again, if you ended with the Boneyard, you really don't want to see anything after Undertaker drives out.
Underrated moment we didn't talk about right after the Firefly Funhouse. Titus O'Neil's reaction.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
that was awesome. He really sold it that this is like weird. Not because if someone was weirded out by what happens, like Titus O'Neil made you think you're not alone. Like I'm weirded out too.
Just imagine if that's the last thing we saw of WrestleMania, and it actually could have worked that way. Titus O'Neil is just like done. He just drops the mic and just walks away.
Yeah. So
it'd be like, I guess WrestleMania's over. Okay.
Yeah, and I know we'll talk about this year's, the current one, but I want to say this. I know it's not going to happen because they need to get crowds, but I wouldn't mind, because they can't do it again, I wouldn't mind they did that with Randy Orton. Because just imagine Randy Orton with the old blue tights, the old theme music and stuff like that, and give him a little fake hair when he first started and stuff. This whole the evolution of Randy Orton when he first started and Legend Killer and Legacy and stuff. I know exactly.
If he comes out with his arm in a sling, I would lose my mind for it.
RNN.
Hello, Matita. So, Health Fiend said just 20% there. About to be that good as time.
I emailed him after that because they had that thing where you could email like RNN at whatever it was.com. I emailed him and I was like, dear Randy, I think your new heel gimmick is amazing. I'm completely loving what you are doing right now. I was just completely congratulating him about everything, but I was like, and send. I was like, yep, Randy Orton's now gonna feel better about
but
himself.
It'd be great, and they could really do it if they could. I could just think of Bray got Randy on his top, and you get Triple H with a wig doing a thumbs down and stuff like that.
And then they could even say like,
it would be Bray dressed as Triple H doing that, I suppose.
Yeah, but you need someone to.
That's the thing with that moment. You could even have an inside joke of like, Orton's up there, and then he looks down, and Bray's like, "Who's holding you up? He's supposed to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's gone this year." And then that's it.
Exactly. So you just stuff like that. But I know it'd be a regular match. But yeah, and the Big Show versus Drew, it was okay. I'm glad. I'd rather it would happen live at WrestleMania if they had time instead of just showing it on Raw. But it was fine for what it was. It was showing that after a 6-minute death match with Brock Lesnar, I got another couple of minutes to go with the Big Show. So, so I get what they was trying to. I thought it was weird. It was like, why are y'all doing this, and why are we supposed to care? But okay, it's one of them things again. Okay, Big Show came back, challenged Drew. Where they going with this? And okay, it was just that, and then it just went nowhere after that. Like, okay. I guess that's a good thing. I guess no more Big Show feuds and stuff. I don't know. And the thing is, he had a longer match with the Big Show than he did with Brock.
He did,
so
yeah.
that made perfect sense. Yeah, about 2 minutes.
Thank you for joining us on the Outlaw Mode Show Drive-In. If you liked that video, please click like and subscribe to our channel for more content from the Drive-In. For full episodes of our podcast, you may look us up on Anchor, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are available. Just search for Outlaw Mode Show Drive-In. And if it's not too much trouble, would you help us out here? Spread the word, share. We would really appreciate it. Thank you. We love you. Bye.